Tamari koutou. Welcome to Monday. My name is Inez, and on Mondays I show up here on my channel to act as a kind of like a virtual grief center. On Mondays we unpack just a little bit our grief, any resentments we might be carrying, stress, feelings of being tangled up and unable to move forward, anger, sadness, all of those things. I show up on Mondays so that you have somewhere or someone, metaphorically speaking, or in a virtual way, someone you can leave it with. I know I certainly have always needed this myself. So the process that we have is I'll chat to you. I'll also upload this to my podcast, so you can maybe listen to it later if you don't have time now. It's also being recorded to my YouTube channel. So if you prefer YouTube, you can go there and subscribe and get a notification whenever I come live. But our priority is on Mondays. I talk to you so that you can practice going deeper inside yourself and just finding those places, grief, resentment, sadness, that are stuck inside you, and practice putting them out here with me. Give them to me or give them to this space in this moment. And then for the rest of the week, you're able to carry on with the plan. Make some plans to succeed. Get on with life. Do some work. Move through. Just knowing that someone's heard you or that you've tapped into the practice of moving them from inside yourself and putting them on the outside, somewhere or with someone. And over time, that practice of offloading healthily and regularly, that should develop a little bit more space, a little bit more breathing space within you, a little bit more mind space, energy space, and that room to give yourself to a kaupapa, whakaaro, and to practices that will grow you and take you in the direction you want to go. Whether you're here following me because you want to build on your whenua Māori, or to get finance, to get back into home ownership, to get out of debt, to be relieved from your stress, the constant money stress that might be around. Believe you me, it starts with creating some space from your current state and your current predicament. And in that space is where you make plans. But you have to have the time and you have to have the energy to be able to make plans. To be able to stick to a budget, you need to have a plan. You need to have energy. Because a budget in your financial goals, buying a home, getting a home loan, getting out of debt, those things actually involve some sometimes some unpleasant feelings and unpleasant experiences. Whether those experiences are shame, guilt, embarrassment, pressure, failure, feeling inadequate. Dealing with your shit comes with all of those feelings. So what I'm hoping you get from this practice of showing up here on a Monday is to give yourself space and a break from all of those kinds of feelings, parking them here on a Monday. Knowing that every other moment this week that you continue to engage in those feelings won't get you any more time, won't get you any more money, won't get you any more energy. So just learn how to fail, learn how to feel like a failure and be all good with it. And just be like, well, I'll just leave them on a Monday, deal with the shit later. It's a legitimate strategy. We're not encouraged in this way because toxic positivity says we must always be positive. We must always be growing. No. Sometimes we just need to aim to be neutral, aim to just be. And at the beginning, it starts off with 5 minutes. You might only be successful at not worrying for 5 minutes, and then eventually it might become half a day. Oh, the lights are coming off for us, little sunlight. And then with that sunlight, let's talk with it. Eventually it might become a week at a time and a month at a time. 6 months. And then you might come crashing back down again, and you just start the process again of aiming for 5 minutes, 1 minute at a time, 30 seconds. Start there. Feel what you're feeling. Tell yourself, park it. It's on Mondays. I can come back to it next Monday. All right? And then make a plan to go forward. I'm going to shift now into a bit of story time, just for a few minutes to end our session. I'm currently in this position because after this, I'm going to be recording for my new Gut Love and Wellbeing program. It is more of it's a me project. And I'll be taking people who are interested in resetting their gut health and healing themselves, their stress, their physical experience of the stress privately through a private group. There may be products that have to be purchased in order to engage in the program, but not necessarily paying me. So the link is in my bio, the link is up top there. And then next week, we have the very first big event for Reset Your Money Thermostat. It's a webinar coming up next week. And so I'm getting ready for that big cope opera as well. So that's what we're going to be recording that content after. Some movement therapy, facilitated thought. I'll do a little bit of it at the end of this session. Anyway, I've woken up to a Monday, this Monday, today, and everything is due at 9 o'clock. Everything's due at 9 o'clock. Ideally, work projects, proposals of work due at 9. Cleaning is due at 9. I'm traveling away tonight at 6 o'clock with my son on a plane. We've to go to our very first meeting for our Māori Credit Union tomorrow in Rotorua. We're having the first of hopefully many meetings for this collaboration. That's only the big stuff. There's about 5 other things that I need to be achieving. Mother stuff, wife stuff, financial stuff, pay some bills, it's all landed on Monday. And I woke up struggling to think which one do I start with first. And so, excuse me, that is not an uncommon experience. And I'm playing it down. I'm playing it down. It's probably about 20 things that should be done, ideally. On top of that, I'm not a person, I love being at home. I love being in a home, my home. And I've just come back from a week away in Melbourne. I've been home for 2 sleeps and now we're flying away to Rotorua. Then I'm coming back here on Thursday. Then I'm flying away 6 days later back to the US, to Miami, where I'll be shooting my videoing and recording my very first webinar for my research on my thermostat program. Yeah, so it's like all landed on me, the realization of this, and it's a Monday. And in the past, I had, and I'm talking, say, over the 6 years that I've been here with you on this page, it would be remiss for me to make out that I teach or coach anything to do with home ownership, financial well-being, Māori land, as if I've got it all sorted. And I think the normal business model is that we are encouraged to do is as if we teach and we depart from it ourselves. So we coach and we share on social media the answers and the experience and the services that we're providing. But we detach ourselves. It's almost expected that we detach ourselves and make out that we don't have those problems. Now, I remember when I first started the business and I wanted to provide my valuation and property services and advice to Māori families so that we didn't have to suffer being tenants in our own country, and we didn't have to suffer from declining home ownership rates, which, by the way, if they continue the way they are, 30 years from now, we will be completely tenants. We will not have home ownership at the rate of decline that has happened over the last 30 years. So it was very important to me. And in my prayers to Io, I think I asked to be able to be successful at that goal. Because at the same time, I had come out of a relationship, a marriage, going through nightmare situation, and as separation does for many people. The finances went with it. My independence went with it. That means moving in with family. And my confidence was shattered. And then I decided to open a business on top of that. I'm not sure what I was thinking. I think I was probably reacting. And anyway, here I am 7 years later, managing to do it. Along that experience was nightmares, terror. Along that 7 years was despair and grief and loss, madness. I mean, it was a nightmare. And behind the business, the only part that was rational in my life, that has been rational in my life, has been the advice I give, the coaching that I share with my clients and with people here on this page. That's the only rational thing that's existed in my life. And through that, I figured out how to, I think, buy 3 properties, pay off 2 mortgages, and the balance of the mortgages on the rest, 3 properties, 4 properties, and the balance of the mortgages on the rest is less than 30%, so compared to the value. And I did that with no money. That was just purely from my understanding of gifting and equity and value. And knowing how to be rational when it comes to property and making decisions. I can make decisions well, even in distress. So this year I decided that I wasn't going to separate the two, because let me get it back on track. 2021, I had my baby. He is just over 18 months now old. He's a blessing. I got married just before that, before our son was born, and just all the practices through all of those harrowing nightmares before that have kind of come to fruition, and it took that long. And I won't say it was luck. It was a practice. It was practicing and practicing and practicing hope. And I had to practice realizing that my reality and what my normal was a nightmare, was awful, traumatic, stressful. And that if that was my new life, my new reality, I had to learn how to put it aside just for moments, a day, an hour at a time, half an hour at a time, enough time to earn a little bit of money to sustain and raise the family, or sometimes just to sustain and raise myself. Yeah. So I thought, I need to share this. I need to share the totality of the story of why I'm able to coach you through the home ownership process, through the Māori land process. Trust me, I've been in the Māori land court all by myself as well. Actually, my dad was there with me. My dad sat there with me. Wasn't his case, it was mine. Didn't have a lawyer, and I was successful in that too. I've had the worst home ownership deals on record for myself personally, not for other people. The most impossible deal you could ever think of was ours to get our home. And second to that, only by this much, was the first home I bought for myself and my sons while we were single, and I just started the business, so there was no job or anything like that. So these things that are actually impossible, I was able to achieve amongst the worst times of my life. So I feel that whenever I asked whoever you believe in, to help me, that's exactly what he did. He gave me he said, all right then, and he gave me every single scenario that I needed to be able to work and learn my way through. Otherwise, what the heck would I have to coach from? Nothing. I'd just be coaching Māori families to achieve home ownership and to move on to their whenua from an empty cup, a vessel just filled with theory and a university degree. And that is not what it takes. It takes that. That's the understanding, that's the skill, the training, and the knowledge. But here's the part that's available to all of you. Not just me as a trained professional, but to all of you. And that is to practice taking the realities of life that aren't always great, parking them on a Monday. Parking them somewhere in time in a little capsule. Connecting to that and feeling like that's a reality so that you can move on for the week and make some space for yourself to make those plans, to earn a bit of money, to make some changes, to hold on to some energy for yourself. On Wednesdays, we practice making those plans and engage, making the feelings of hope a habit. And then on Fridays, we get creative or play or feel free. We make a plan for that on Friday. We do it on Fridays. 5 minutes turns into an hour, turns into a whole day. It turns into a lifestyle. And from that, you grow wealth. Because when you learn how to feel and act wealthy first, after all that, we're just dealing with money. So that's the process. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And in between, and periodically, I offer you webinars that you can enroll for that will activate the money side of things. The money, the home ownership, the land. Those are like knowledge bonds. They land, I sell you a ticket, you come along, we impart massive knowledge, action plan, break open some misunderstandings or some myths. But in order for any of that to land and to work, you have to do Wednesday, Fridays, 4 weeks of the month, okay? This will allow you to have the strength and the resilience to be able to hold it and make deep changes to your beliefs. Otherwise, your thermostat, your beliefs, your deep beliefs, will always continue to reset to 0 and below. So with that, let's wind it up because I've got some facilitated movement to do for my Gut Love program, or the roadmap rather, that I use to get me through the anxiety and the terrible times that come up in life, but were my reality for a bit longer than I ever want them to ever be ever again. So that wellbeing program is starting tonight. I'm sending out the videos and the plan to anybody who is registered. Yeah. So let's just finish here so I can get on recording with that. Untangling is a skill that can help. We're untangling today, spending time with ourselves, untangling some knots in the body and in our thoughts. And we practice that on Mondays. Can't wait. So, just to end, I've got my workout clothes on. So just going to get you to wherever you are. A lot of stress is held in the neck, the shoulders, and the hips because we sit down a lot. And so for a week, what I'm getting everybody to focus on this week in my wellbeing program, Gut Love, is very small movements and holding where there's pain rather than going out there and exercising your brain out and running off those calories. So what we're doing is we're just finding your hips should move well without pain. And if they don't, hold it there where there's any pain or locked up places. Okay. Just hold it there and breathe through it until you feel little moments where the muscles let go. That's what we're focusing on this week. Multiple days of just, I got one there. Feel a twinge and now it's throbbing, and all I did was move this way just that much. And it's learning to stay with it instead of avoid it. See what comes out in your thoughts and then deal with that. The physical part of it is probably not as important as dealing with the reason it's there. Most of the time, physical pain is around because of avoidance. We're avoiding moving because we're busy, or we don't want to be reminded of why we don't move anymore, or we don't want to be reminded of the days that we were amazing and now we don't feel so amazing. Okay. So we just find little spots in our hips and our pelvis by moving it around. A tight to cause pain, and then we hold there with it. Now, getting rid of stuck muscles in your body often releases a whole lot of toxins and yucky stuff into your stomach. So give yourself a break this week. Take time. Drink water. And we'll end with that. And I'm going to go carry on recording for my new program. Okay, everybody, take some moments out for yourself today. Feel all the feelings. Leave them here on Monday. Bye,